Hello, everybody. Welcome to another presentation of Mars Revealers, Mars Anomalies, and Archaeology. And we got a great presentation for you all today as we're going to be getting into the pyramids of Mars, not of this world. So the image and feature that we're going to be looking at today is right here. Sorry for my big head, or I'd zoom in a bit. I'm going to have to learn to adjust that. But anyway, so the feature in question is over here on the right side portion of this image. Okay, now, if I were to ask you, what do you think you see? Some people might say, oh, well, over here on the left looks like the edge of a crater, and on the right looks like a potential other crater. Well, looks could be deceiving, especially when we're only looking at a portion of the image. But this was released by the HiRise Picture of the Day from April 29th. But before we look at that, what do you think you see here? Okay, so look at it carefully. Does that look normal to you? Oh, maybe it does to some of you. Okay. But this was titled by the HiRise Picture of the Day as Volcanic Cone in Claritas Fosse. You know, and it's pretty funny, volcanic cone. Now, I don't know about you, but does that look like a volcanic cone to you? Again, the feature we're talking about is over here on the right side portion of the image. Now, so, volcanic cone. Okay. So, this is again the HiRise image number ESP underscore 076899 underscore 1510. So, again, this was given to us as a picture of the day from HiRise on April 29th of 2026, just a couple days ago, or yesterday, rather. So, and it was pretty interesting as it was Brian Corey Dobbs. When I woke up, I turned the computer on. I got an alert on X from Brian Corey Dobbs to look into this, and I did so, and even more so. And it's kind of funny, you know, because the feature in question, they love to give out the most natural type of excuses as to what we're really looking at here on the surface. Though they only give us a piece of it, which is the right edge of an image. This is part of a larger image swath. Okay, which, you know, more details, but this is pretty much the edge of the image of the feature in question is what we're looking at. They only give this much and also down here, but we'll look into all that. So, they call it a volcanic clone in Claritas Fosse. So, now, here's what they given out as their statement about it, all right? This image shows an atypical conical formation associated with flow-like features. Oh, a conical formation associated with flow-like features. Okay, but the shape of the cone suggests that there was a larger cone whose summit was destroyed, and a newer, smaller cone formed inside this crater-like area. Oh, really? Oh, you know, that's a lot of hoops to jump through of nature to create what we're going to be looking at compared to what's being described. Now, remember, they're calling it an atypical conical formation associated with flow-like features. The shape of the cone suggests that there was a larger cone whose summit was destroyed, and a newer, smaller cone had formed inside this crater-like area. Okay, that sounds simple and boring and nothing to see here, right, folks? This might be a... Notice that it says this might be a kilometer-sized volcano. So, again, they don't know what it is. They can't tell you what it is, but they're calling it a volcanic cone, okay? But it might be a kilometer-sized volcano. And then the other side of that coin means it might not be. But located between the lava plains of the Dalia Planum and Solus Planum, Claritas Fosse is a graben-filled highland. Grabens are depressions that form along parallel faults. Really, again, whatever they say. So, and again, there's the image number, but the actual date that the image was taken was on December 22nd of 2022. So, that being said, let's check out the feature in question again. All right. Look at it. A volcanic cone. Okay. Do you see a volcanic cone here? I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't. I see a pyramid. Yeah, a pyramid. Isn't that interesting? Now, here is the area in question. Okay, and obviously here is the feature in question right here. Okay, so this is what they're calling grabens, I guess. But notice how these so-called grabens, it's going over and being a part as features that look like they were there much longer, or it's really hard to tell what came first. But either way, this is the feature right here. I'm not going to speculate all on the surrounding hardscape or landscape of this. So this is the feature in question. Let me zoom into it. Okay, does that look like a volcanic cone to you? Remember, it might be a kilometer-sized volcano, and then it might not be. What are your thoughts when you look at this? I mean, that's the thing. You see, volcanoes don't throw up geometrical shapes. Okay? Nature's not that perfect. All right? I just want to start off by saying that. All right? So this is very interesting. So, you know, you can see the area, okay. It definitely stands out from amongst the rest of the features here. All right, let's move on. This is a Mars Odyssey image, okay. Much lower resolution than the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter context camera. All right, higher resolution than Viking, of course. But this is what we see from Mars Odyssey. Again, does it look like a volcano to you? I don't know about you, but, you know, again, I'm seeing, you know, shaping. I'm seeing sides to this. You know, it's casting a shadow also. It's got furrows on the sides of it. And on this side, you can see how it's like the furrows scoot down and rising upwards at an edge. Okay. Now, it's interesting, isn't it? Interesting volcano. So here is a Mars Express version of it, where the shading, sunlighting is coming from a different position, obviously. Wish I can get my big head out of the way. Now, I'm going to process these images here from Mars Express a little better. I was in a rush to put this together to get it out, but all this is going to be all well represented, as it's going to be included in the future book that I'm, gathering material now for, which I want to put out with my Coprende Mean Green. We're going to do a book called The Pyramids of Mars, Oasis of the Damned. So here's a Mars Express image of it. And there's another one. So we got two different Mars Express images of it, both with coming from different sunlightings. So it's still interesting. It still doesn't look like a volcano. Still looks like it has some forms of shaping of geometry there. Still looks pyramidal in my opinion. Okay. Now here it is in color. Look at these pretty colors of purples and pinks and greens. You know, I still say that most of this surface is metal, heavy metal, and potentially a lot of gold everywhere. And again, you know me, I'm crazy, they say. I believe this has been all artistically sculpted on an entire planetary scale, but hey, there's only footprints to that thesis of mine. In time, that shall be revealed. But that's my take on it, but that's pretty interesting. Again, does it look like a volcano? Some people might say yes. Some people really don't know what volcanoes look like, let alone pyramids. But especially when they consider, when they hear and see that this is on Mars, it tends to blow a lot of people away. But, you know, I digress. So the size of this thing is also impressive, as nothing on Mars is minimal, okay, and nothing to be scoffed at. Again, it's from Google Earth, from Google Mars, and of course, you see how NASA gives you out the image to you there. But notice it's Notice its long shadow being cast. But notice here, from corner to corner of the pyramid, to where it matches up with the side furrows, from the corner of this pyramid to the other side here, is 2 miles. So this thing is minimum 2 miles, okay? No, I didn't measure across from side to side. That isn't really important. I'm looking at mainly the pyramidal shape of the geometry myself. It's basically 2 miles, okay, in width. Now, in height, however, this thing's about around 2,500 feet. So again, this is no small feat of wonder. And yes, volcanoes, do tend to have those, amazing heights, but that high? Yeah, some depends where you are. But do you ever see any volcanoes? Again, a volcanic cone, no less, that looks like a pyramid. All right. Still not convinced this looks like a pyramid? All right, let's move on. So here it is, a better process view from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter CTX imager. And for all of you people that want to know where this is, there it is, right here on top. So make sure you mark that down and have fun going to look for it. But again, do you see a volcano? This should be seen better than what the image that we just looked at that NASA releases for Google Earth view, right? Which version looks better? I don't know. I think the choice is obvious. But you never know. To each their own. But again, look at the amazing geometry about this. This does not look normal, and it certainly does not look like a volcano. All right? Now, there is what I believe I see as the geometrical fingerprint of the structure itself. Again, what does it look like? Well, it don't have 4 sides. That's not a pyramid. It don't matter. First thought, this is Mars, and they had a bigger understanding of utilizing the geometrical shapings and building their huge pyramidal structures. Now, once again, we are given a hexagonal shape. Okay, so you're right. It's not looking like a normal 4-sided pyramid. But again, you look here, and you can see the geometry. What volcanoes throw off angles like that? Okay, we'll throw off geometrical lines and shaping like that. I'll do this, flip it back and forth for you. So it's like, I do this line, I did this line tracing pretty fast, so it ain't meant to be perfect. It's to give you a general idea of what I'm seeing. And it's good enough to see and determine that indeed you can see where I'm going, or at least why you see my reasoning for calling it as such. But 6 sides. It's a hexagon. And again, there's the coordinates. So, so that's the thing. So here we are with a 6-sided hexagonal pyramid within, which they say was part of a bigger dome that happened to be washed away or somehow scoured away, and a new volcanic cone came up in its place that replaced it with a geometrically shaped hexagonal Martian pyramid 2 miles wide. That's an incredible fucking feat of nature, if you ask me. So this is something I wanted to put out. And especially because, once again, NASA knows what they put out. They know what they image. They're teasing us all. And for all we know, who knows? Maybe they're putting out there for me, the Mars Revealer, to test us, to test me, in order, to show us, hey, we see it too. We just can't say it. We have to call it a volcano. But, you know, we're not stupid. We got the degrees. Not you, you nutty mad Martian, you, right? So, hey, but we can't say the things that you can say. But maybe we could clue you in or lead you to something to see to claim about. But the problem is, and I'm sure there'll be some mainstream scientists or NASA, I don't know about officials or people that work for NASA, that would come out and try to debunk this without any science. And believe it or not, we're doing much work, much more work, even what you've seen here of me doing this, using the data to make claims, and they use no data to back up their claims. Once again, this is not a volcano. You cannot trust NASA and any of their official wordings or understandings about anything, because I'm going to tell you, 98% of them don't even study the surface of Mars. They don't. They're all doing their jobs and everything. It's people like myself that's there every damn day. I'm studying that surface, and I've been doing that since 1998. And now we have more than enough data available to really study it intently from various resolutions and various spacecraft. Now, things can be better, and hopefully they will get better. I'd like to see LiDAR thrown on some of these missions, and definitely go over this side again to see if what I'm showing you here has any inkling of truth. Because in my words, because the truth in my words is based on what? Not just on me wanting to claim there's pyramids on Mars. No, it's by the data of what's seen in the data. And more than one source, more than one image, as we looked at, this Martian pyramid exists. And as you can see, this pyramid sits atop like of a ridge. They say that this was an older dome. Well, then maybe someone came by, carved the shit out of it, and built a dome in there. I mean, built a hexagonal pyramid in there. But not only that, they also say it's conical. And it is. I wanted to draw out the circle going around this. So, but my hand couldn't be steady enough. And again, I didn't do this with perfection, but it's also round. It fits within this circle. Again, a pyramid within a circle. Not a three-sided, but a hexagon. So it's still very interesting, and it still has some geometrical signature and semblance of what ultimately that could mean, because different pyramidal shapes, geometrical pyramidal shapes, has various properties to them. So I could be really interested and wonder what the six-sided pyramid would be, or an eight-sided octagonal pyramid would be, compared to a three-sided tetrahedron, or a four-sided pyramid, you know, or even a pentagonal pyramid. You know, different shapes, different frequencies, different properties could pertain to what we're looking at. We do know that geometric shapes, through vibrations and sounds and such like that, have interesting properties and shapings. So it's really possible that what we're seeing here, that's not of this world. We won't find pyramids like that on this planet, especially of that size. Again, 2 miles from corner to corner. You know, from corner here to corner here, 2 miles across. So that's just the pyramid itself. So if we look at from here to here, we're probably looking at 2.5, 3 miles. You know, so again, and this is like 2,500 foot high. So again, it's not a miniature anything. And it's not a volcano. Again, where in nature on Earth, on this world, do you see, again, octagonal, pyramidal, volcanic cones? Remember, they said it might be a kilometer-sized volcano. But then again, what is that trying to tell you unofficially? It might not be. So let's give you a peek of it. You know, they give us a HiRise picture with it right there at the right edge to tease us, to look into it. Because they see it too. So that being said, you all know me. I'm going to give you a 3D spin around of this. And again, this is amazing stuff. This is amazing stuff. So please like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, BitChute, on X, or wherever you're seeing this. What do you think? Am I off my gourd? Am I, off my rocker? Did I smoke one too many joints? Of course I did. But shit, it don't matter. It's the data that counts. And what's being seen in the data is the reality. So again, like and subscribe. Please leave any questions or comments, and let me know what you think about this hexagonal Martian pyramid. Not a volcano. Well, all I'll say is, till next time, peace.
I walk among them, they don't see. Eyes to the ground, souls asleep. Ekking her en ek heet ekking her en ek heet ekking her en ek heet ekking her. Cold lights, empty faces, voices without meaning, names without roots. They speak but say nothing, they move but feel nothing. Folkan than leaves. Something is breaking deep inside me. This is not where I belong. Ekman, Ekman. I am not of this world, I am not of this place. I hear something calling, I remember. Ekkawe hey my head, Ekkawe hey my head, Ekkawe hey my head. Wind touches my skin and I remember. Stone beneath my feet and I remember. There was a time before this silence, there was a voice inside the earth. Vinder katlar jörð lífið. I will not stay, I will not fade. This is not life, this is forgetting. Ekris nu ekking heim. I am not of this world, I am not of this place. I hear the old ones calling, I remember my name. Ekkae hey my head, Ekkae hey my head. Till skogar, till råta. Ekkae hey my head, Ekkae hey my head. I hear it now, I feel it now. Heim, heim, heim. I am not of this world, I am not of this place. I hear the old ones calling, I remember my name. Ekkae hey my head, Ekkae hey my head. Till skogar, till råta. I am of the forest, I am of the stone, I am of the wind, I am not alone. Ekka heima þar í skógi, í jörð. Ekka heima þar í skógi, í jörð. Ekkae heima hér, Ekkae heima hér. They walk in silence.